right, so tonight our speaker is Carol Mwazi. Carol is a specialist in strategy, financial and enterprise management, as well as client relationship management and leadership. She holds an MBA and various other qualifications in client relationships. Carol is the founder of Huru Consult Limited that consults to corporates, SMEs, and not-for-profits. She's a seasoned speaker and a seminar leader, and she possesses or has credited a number of certifications to run a wide variety of certified training programs in her seminars. And Carol will share with us some of her expertise and wisdom today in her talk all about building blocks of business. So Carol, over to you.
Thank you very much, everybody. Bruce and everybody else, such a pleasure to be with you. It was a surprise to be asked to speak because I was planning to attend the meeting in my usual role of being a wallflower, taking in all the knowledge. But I am honored to have been asked to share this. And this is a subject that's very close to my heart and one that it gives me great pleasure to share with you. So as Bruce said, we're looking at building blocks for your business. And of course, we are talking about our speaking businesses here. So I believe that goes without saying. So going straight into it. Okay, so we're going to look at your business now. And of course, this will be interactive. So if you have reactions or any questions, do put them in chat as well as also comments. So yes, we're going to look at your business now. And then we're going to look at the building blocks. And there are only 5. And so you'll be able to evaluate how you're doing vis-a-vis the building blocks. And then we're going to talk about how you can build your business better going into 2022. Of course, no perfect time like the present to think about how you can improve your business as well. So this will help you assess where you are, to identify the blocks, and then to use them to create a plan to move your speaking business forward. And I'm included. I would put my hand up and say that I'm one of those that wants to move my business ahead. When we were sharing in the breakout rooms about the things that we wish we would have done better, for me it was just improving my back end, my back office, and improving my marketing. And I know each of you had areas to improve. So hopefully with the building blocks, you'll be able to get more granular about what you actually need to do in those areas. So this will help you gain clarity on where you are, where you want to go, and how you're going to reach there, which will help you develop both personally and in your business. And that should lead you to achieving your life and your business goals. So let's go straight into it, starting by looking at your business now. Of course, 2021 was a really special year. The world came to a standstill. And we all know that the reason for this was COVID, and it changed everything up, right? So just going through the range of emotions that we may have had. Initially, everybody was shocked. There was a level of paralysis as well, confusion, panic, stagnation, which is the paralysis I'm talking about. And this may have lasted a long time or a short time because it really depended on how hit hard you were and the view that you took of the situation that we were in. And then many of us moved to reflection. And that led us to beginning to rise. And of course, the meetings that we had encouraged us to do something, not just to remain where we were. So we started rising. Many of us have pivoted. Those of us who were reluctant to go online found ourselves being pulled, whether we liked it or not, into the online world. And so we pivoted and then many of us have begun to actually thrive in what is commonly known as the new normal. So now we have adjusted to it. I think the new normal is now normal. And then there was, as I said earlier on, a definite shift to delivering things online, to digitalizing our business. And in many ways, we modified our business model. Overall, there's been an easing of restrictions. I think this has had to do with more and more people being vaccinated. So there's more travel, there's more in-person meetings. There's still a preference for online, but there's a definite shift back to in-person meetings and events. And then in general, this can be argued from one reason to another, but there has also been a level of economic improvement, increased stability, and we can begin to say what the future looks like, at least for the next 6 months to 1 year. So in general, there's a level of stability, there's a level of easing off of restrictions, so we can begin to some degree to measure, to say what the future will look like. So let's do a poll. Even as you think about your own business, compared to 2020, how has your business been doing this year compared to last year? Is it much worse, slightly worse, doing okay? I mean, it's kind of the same. And is there moderate improvement? Definitely improvement. Never been better. You're doing brilliantly. So let's poll and just see how we are doing collectively. Thank you, Bruce.
Okay, the poll's active. If you can just click and we will read. So we've got 55% participation, which is better than we normally have. Just need to wake up the other 40. There we go. Wake up. There we go.
Remember to hit submit after voting. Bruce, I find at times we don't remember to do that.
Yes. Okay, right. Handful of people, and I think it's all the Carols and me that are not voting. So we're going to end the poll, and I'll then put up the results, and you can share those. There we go. So.
Thank you. I think it's you to share.
Yeah. So, okay. So the results are in, and we have actually a very productive group here, Carol. So, yeah, maybe you need to change your talk here, because everybody says that 33% are moderately improving and 67% is definitely improving. So we're on the up and up. We have learned our lessons. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we also all agree that there's still room for improvement. From the discussions we had in the breakout, we all know that there is more that we can be doing. I don't think necessarily working harder, but maybe being more strategic and leveraging on the strengths that we have. And just being very, very, very focused in our efforts. Thank you, Bruce. So to carry on, what then are the building blocks, right? So, and these are things that we may not have time for us to answer in the session, but it's important for you to clarify to yourself the reason why you're in business. Of course, it's to make money, but why? Why? What type of life are you trying to build? So take time, and for every reflection question I'm asking here, take time on your own, and there is a worksheet that will be shared with you just to help you to process the things that we'll be talking about here. So why are you in business? What's your life dream, and also what's your dream vision for your speaking business? Because not only speaking businesses, any business doesn't exist just for its own reason. There's something that it gives you that leads to the vision of your life. So what's your dream? What's your vision of your speaking business? Another question that is not on the screen is how are you doing towards achieving the dream that you had when you started? The chances are that COVID or no COVID, your dream is the same. The vision that you have is the same, because it lines up with the vision for your life. And so the building blocks for your speaking business and for any business, so what I'm sharing here, you can apply to any other business that you have, starts with you. You are the builder. And just to echo John Maxwell's law of the lead, is that your business will rise as high as your leadership. So if your lead is low, then you'll only rise up to so much, whereas if your lead is higher, you'll go much, much further. So the building blocks are you, and you're at the center of it all, which is why I'm speaking to you. And then there's your market, and that's an entire conversation, as you'll see. Then there's the back end, the operations I talked about earlier on, how your business runs from when you start prospecting, networking, prospecting, etc., all the way to when you invoice, get paid, and use that money to pay your suppliers, including yourself. And then it's about the team that you have supporting you. No man is an island. We do need a team, especially as business grows. I'm the one who can put my hand up and say, you can't do it on your own. You must have a strong team. supporting you. Then, of course, there's the financial element, which has to do with the goals that you're making, but also with how you're managing that side of your operations. So we'll unpack them one by one in the times that we have left. To start by saying everything rises and falls on leadership, John C. Maxwell, and indeed it does. You are the driver, you are the captain of your ship, and your business, your speaking business is in the state it is in simply because of the sum total of your leadership, how you've led yourself, and how you've led your business, and all the decisions that you've made as the leader of your business. And I'd like to just clarify and just say that this applies to whether you're building your business as brand new or whether you're building your speaking business as a company, which is what I'm doing. Although interesting enough, I'm also branching out to still build a parallel business that actually focuses on me because of all the ideas and other things that have been happening over the last few years. So let's start by talking about you. How self-aware are you? And each of these, by the way, is a talk by itself. And so I'll just be touching and going as well and hopefully opening avenues for other conversations at a later point. So it's about increasing in self-awareness. Why are you in business? Who are you? What do you want, etc. And encouraging you, even if you've done this a number of years ago, to just sit down with yourself and do a personal SWOT analysis where you look at your strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities, the new opportunities that have emerged, and also the threats that exist as well right now. Okay, then also what are your values, what's important to you, and why do you do what you're doing? Why do you have the goals that you have? Why did you start your business in the first place? And then what's the vision of your life? What's your personal brand? How does the market perceive you? And how would you like to be perceived? And what will you do to bridge that gap? And then, of course, what do you need to improve on in terms of your self-discipline and your emotional leadership? How are you leading your business? How are you leading your team? And after looking at all these areas, which are a lot, this can easily be an entire weekend, then you come up with a personal growth plan on how you're going to develop yourself. It rises and falls with you, and so of course we have to focus on you. The other thing which is not part of the building blocks, but is really important, is that you need to be aware about what's happening in your environment. And since we're playing in the world, it's important to look at that. So you have to think about your primary playing field, your primary playground, and just assess it in terms of the implications it has. So of course, like any good business student, we use a tool that's known as a PESTLE or LOPEST. It's the same, it just depends on where you want to put the legal. So we look at the legal environment, the political environment. Here in Kenya, we are having elections next year, and that always affects business. It always affects the economy. You find a lot of clients go on a sort of a slow down to just wait and see how the elections will go. Of course, COVID has also had an impact on the economy and also on how we just live and exist in society. The technology here just has to do with how you do things. And of course, if you have opportunities to automate, you want to do that as much as possible, including having a virtual assistant and all the rest of it. So look at each of these areas, ask yourself what's going on, what are the implications in general, but also what are the implications to your industry, to your special niche, and the impact on your business, both positive and negative. Of course, you take advantage of what's positive and you manage what's negative. Again, you do a SWOT analysis for your business as well. And of course, the strengths and weaknesses are internal to your business. And if you're the only one in your business, you look at yourself in terms of how you've done it. Strengths, of course, are things like you're really good at marketing, your brand is very strong, etc. Weaknesses perhaps might be weaknesses in marketing, areas of improvement and all that. And then of course you also look at your external, what opportunities are there that you need to take more advantage of, and the threats that you're facing as well in your business. Be honest, I am needless to say, that's where the highest value is. So the remaining 4 blocks are your marketing, which is key, and we'll be talking quite a bit about this business, as I said earlier, your operations, your people, that is the team that supports you. Doesn't matter if you have just one VA or a whole team like a publicist, etc., supporting you, and the finance in your business. Again, each of these is a talk by itself, but as I said, we'll just be touching and going. So with marketing, have you defined your market? Do you know who you're serving? It can be everybody. It should never be everybody, but just have clarity on this. And I've been on a journey where I started by doing everything to everybody, and I'm now really narrowing down. And this has been as I've been working on my new website to just define really what I want to do in the coming years. So your target market, your critical success factors, both one as a speaker, as a consultant or a coach, but also as a supplier to the industry that you're speaking in. And this is particularly for those of us who are niche speakers. If you're a finance speaker, what are the critical success factors? If you're a futurist, what is it that you have to have and do, be, do, and have? And then, of course, the 4 Ps that you need to really think about. Each of these is a conversation on their own. What are you selling? Is it relevant now? What products and services do you have? What can you add on? Are you doing enough as far as letting people know about your products as well? What do clients say about it? What are your competitors doing as well? And then, of course, pricing, always a very important issue for us. What's your value? Are you getting value? Are you being perceived as having the value that you ask for? Are you able to actually command it? So that's the pricing. Do you need to change your pricing? And then place is just where you go and where people can find you, including the agents who market your books, the agents who market you, and the places where you speak, both online and in person. Promotion is key. Where do your audience listen? Are you there? Are you a thought leader in that space? And also how are people knowing and learning about you? Taking advantage, of course, of your digital presence. Is it strong? And do you command a presence? And so each one of us will come up with our own combination of this. So my question is, how well are you doing with combining the 4 Ps, and what do you need to improve? And for each of them, you do need to take time and think about them, because this is the heart of the matter. If we're not marketing, and if we don't have the right marketing mix, which is how we combine the 4 Ps, we're dead in the water already. Because we may have the awesome product, nobody knows about it. We may have the right price, but if nobody knows about it, or if we're not easily available, we're still dead in the water. So it's really about the unique way that you combine the 4 Ps to stand out, be noticed, and be called back again and again. And this helps us then to have what is known as the purple cow. This is from a book by the same title by Seth Godin, where he talks about consistently and reliably creating amazing, unique, and extraordinary experiences for our clients. And we can pause there and ask ourselves, are we doing this consistently? And that's the key, reliably. Amazing, unique, extraordinary experiences for our clients. So how well are we doing? Which brings us to the third building block, the first one being you, the second one being your marketing, onto our operations, because this is the heart of the matter. This is the heart of your business. Client has to be at the center, and operations must be smooth from end to end. And it's important to actually draw a map of how your business runs. Even if your business is just speaking, you don't have any products yet, you don't have anything that goes with the speaking, just to draw how your business runs. I have an example of this in the next slide. Identify the bottlenecks and the effect on the client as well of how your operations are running, and ensure that you iron out any wrinkles. Make sure your operations are smooth, that you start building a consistent reputation of quality, reliability, and enthusiastic, ecstatic clients. And as you do all this, ensure that you're running your business in compliance with the law as it pertains in your area. So what we see here then is the running of your business. Okay, so starting with, of course, the marketing that you do that has to do with building up um, um, first of all, having the right attention, developing interest, desire, and of course, action where your products are purchased again and again. So you market and then you obtain the inputs that you need. You receive the order, of course, and then you deliver, whether it's a keynote, whether it is a training program or a coaching program, you deliver. Then you invoice, you get paid. And then, of course, you use that money to pay your clients and other people, your staff, expenses in your business, and the cycle goes over and over. So if you look at each of these areas and you ask yourself, what do I do with my marketing? Is it working or not? How do I deal with my suppliers in terms of obtaining the inputs and so on? You'll be able then to identify where the problem areas are, and you should actually fix them, because whether they're customer facing or not, they do have an impact on your overall delivery. So there's an interesting book that I bought recently that I want to share with you. It's by David Jennings, Systemology. You need to look at your business as a machine. And yes, while we can look at all these areas and try to improve them, he talks about the 80-20 rule, where first of all, start with the most critical parts of your business that will give you the highest value. And so he says then you need to look at the critical client flow, from how you get your client's attention to how you engage with them, how responsive you are, how positive you are, how attractive you are. And when they ask questions or make inquiries, how fast and pleasant that experience is, leading to sales, and then onboarding the client, delivery, and finally then becoming advocates and leading to repeat business. And you need to identify the 20% of your systems that give you the 80% of the impact. And so you can interrogate the experience in your business, right from attention to engagement to inquiry, sales, onboarding, and making sure that you get repeat business. And of course, undergirding your operations, of course, is your people. And a business is only as good as the quality of its people. And so it's important that, regardless of whether they're permanent, temporary, or virtual, think brand, make sure they reflect your brand. Think systems, make sure they have mastery of the systems that they're dealing with. Think empowerment. It's all about leadership. Remember John Maxwell, everything rises and falls on leadership. And also think synergy. How can you get more out of them? How can you work together as a team to produce amazing? Remember the purple cow. Systemize, and this is a big one for me as well. Delegate. Delegate until you're only left with what is really essential in your business. If you're doing it yourself, just ensure that it's running smoothly, but think about your business as a machine, as a system, and the repetitive routine tasks can easily be passed over to a virtual assistant. It will take time to train them, but at the end of the day, they'll take a lot off your hands. Talking about money, of course, with money makes the world go round, as they say. And so make sure that you're setting goals that are strategy driven, and especially look at profitability and cash flow and track both of them. Are you making a profit? What are your revenues? What are your expenses? And then at the end of the day, are you making a profit? And are you able to meet your obligations? Is cash actually flowing as well? Which means you may want to look at your invoicing and your payments, and if need be, have a fallback, whether that's your credit card or a good relationship with your bank that gives you overdraft facilities. So your business objectives are key, that you need to have them. What are your sales goals? Which new markets are you looking at entering into? Which markets do you want to do more in? So where do you want to penetrate further? And then making sure you have a plan based on the areas we talked about earlier. And of course, your current position, where you are, where the gaps are, and what you're going to do in terms of bridging the gaps that you have. And then let's not also forget to manage the risks that, to be aware of the risks we face. What could go wrong, and what steps are you going to take or have you taken to mitigate the risks? Insurance being one, security being another, and all the rest of it. So finally, Then how do you proceed? How do you actually build your business? Benjamin Franklin said, failure to plan is planning to fail. So have a plan. Even if it's 1 page or 2 pages, have a plan and let it be written down. And make sure that you set tangible goals for 2022 and then use the building blocks to deliver on them. The building blocks really are the how you deliver on your plan. So your plan needs to be clear, it needs to be agile, it needs to be written down. As I said, single sheet of paper, no problem. 2 papers, no problem. Try not to make it too long. The simpler it is, the more chance of you achieving it. And of course, not just written down, but actions, you have to implement it and you have to review regularly as well. So when you write your plan, decide on the period, complete the worksheet that I'll share with you, and then review and update it a number of times, editing and making sure that you are clarifying your plan, and then involve people as you need to, and then just review regularly. Where you do well, celebrate, always interrogate whether you do well or not. Learn from both what you do well and what you do less well. If there's need, adjust your plan and keep going. So think through the 5 areas, implement them as at now, just start immediately, and then keep on iterating upwards, keep on improving as you go along. Make sure that you carry out regular reviews, improve and update. So thank you all. It's been a great pleasure speaking to you. And just remember, there are new opportunities available in this new normal, in this new era. So there are no limits, only the ones we place on ourselves. It does start with you, ladies and gentlemen. So think big, start small, act now, as Robin Sharma says. Thank you very much. Great pleasure. Over to you, Bruce.